Zoolock has gone through some massive changes. Imp Warlock has been one of the most popular archetypes since Castle of Nathria has been released. Originally, this deck started out as a typical aggro deck would. A very low curve with the goal of being able to tempo out the maximum amount of stats every single turn. But now, Implock has gone through a few changes to say the least. Cards like Demonic Assault and Blade Master Okani are starting to find their ways out of this deck for other tech choices. So make way for cards like Kael'thas Combos, Gigafin, and yes, even Sire Denathrius. This is a take on Zoolock that Paradox was able to reach rank 1 legend with. And when you look at this deck, the first thing that's on your mind is probably, why on earth do we run Murlockula? This card is actually surprisingly powerful in the mirror. Getting the infuse value out of this card is not that complicated, so you can easily play it for 0 mana. And if you already have it developed onto the board and you're starting to run behind on HP, you can play Vile Library and the Fiendish Circle combo in order to give this card a little bit more of an edge. But most importantly, this card works amazingly with Kael'thas Combos. And I actually believe this is the best way to build Zoolock right now. The reason why Kael'thas is amazing is because it enables scams that your opponent cannot deal with. When I was playing this deck, I ended up going 9-4 with it. And usually whenever you fight a shaman, this deck is absolutely impossible to kill at times. Shaman has so many ways of being able to deny your board to where the games just don't feel like they have any agency to them. Matches against Shaman can completely feel like they're unfair thanks to Snowfall Guardian. But now that we run Gigafin, we have a way of being able to stop this combo in case we don't have Smothering Starfish available in hand. Which is another tech card that I believe fits perfectly in Zoolock. Because even if you end up silencing your own minions, you still have Vile Library in order to build up the stats for immediate damage. Running cards like Starfish and Gigafin are just absolutely necessary in order to compete with the control decks that are evolving in this meta. And if you're expecting to see control shamans on your climb, you need to be able to deal with them, because they are becoming very common to the point where I can't ignore them, otherwise my win rate will suffer. But the main thing that I love about running these legendaries is that you can actually enable an OTK in this deck.
My past cannot shame me forever.
These books all ruined.
A toast to all who sought to kill me.
Thanks to the inclusion of Murlockulas and Kael'thas Combos, you are able to cheat out Gigafin and Sire Denathrius to enable a perfect OTK if your opponent doesn't have too many minions on the field with Death Rattles. And even if they do, you can still pump up Sire Denathrius to have over 30 damage without a problem. If he starts in your mulligan. If Sire Denathrius doesn't find his way into your mulligan, then it can be difficult in order to beat some of the harder matchups. But in matchups against Shaman, keeping Sire Denathrius can actually be correct, and sometimes encouraged. Take this first game that I had with the deck, for example. I was going up against a Paladin that, believe it or not, actually had a pretty good early game and kept denying my board. There may have been some situations where I could have waited on my use of Vile Library, but I kept thinking, how is a Paladin, quote-unquote one of the worst classes in Hearthstone, gonna be able to deal with this? So I was acting a bit cocky during this match. And if you watch until the very end, you'll notice that this Paladin did not have the tools or resources necessary in order to actually close out the game. And because I have these scam cards that are able to swing the game so massively in my favor, I was able to deny any wins for this guy because I imagine that he doesn't have a single win with this deck now. The possibilities of these legendaries are just too noteworthy in order to ignore, and while experimenting with them, they just felt solid in my opinion. One thing that I don't like about Zoo as an archetype, and honestly most aggro decks in general, is the idea of if I play my curve perfectly and my opponent has 1 or 2 cards that are supposed to deny me, then I have a lot of situations to where I'm completely dependent on the rest of my hand to somehow close out the game. And when you're reliant on 1-drops and 2-drops that really don't dictate much of a big board or just deal damage to your face, it can feel like it's impossible when your opponent clears 1 or 2 of your boards. Sea Giants can sometimes be too slow in order to make any sort of meaningful impact on the board or pressure our opponent. But these legendaries have a lot of flexibility to the point where you can hold on to them for the perfect time and they'll make a huge impact. But at its core, this is still Imp Warlock, to where you can cheat out games against Druid in the early stages of the game with Vile Library and Fiendish Circle combos. So I believe this is the perfect version of Imp Warlock that'll be available to play until we get some meaningful balance changes. There's a possibility of Impending Catastrophe, Vile Library, or even Mischievous Imp being nerfed. But we won't know what these changes are until a couple of days from now. So if you're wanting to play a zoo deck that can actually fight in the mid and late game, then this is the perfect deck in order to start your Legend climb. But yeah, dude, that was just nuts. That was a game I shouldn't have won. I mean, yeah, but like I said, though, he had everything he needed in order to contest my cards. Like, that wasn't an issue of Paladin not having what it needed in the early game. That was an issue of not being able to seal the deal, which is, you know, historically something Paladin has struggled with. Very somewhat consistently. Alright, taking that trade. Clark, which deck beats both Shaman and non-alignment Druid? No, Mage actually doesn't do the greatest against alignment. I actually don't know the answer to that question. I think that's like the $1 million Masters Tour question. Most likely, if I were to go to the Masters Tour right now and you had a gun to my head and it's like, make a lineup and you have to submit it now, I would probably bring Denathrius Druid. I'd probably bring this Zoolock. I'd probably bring Control Shaman. And I would probably bring Spooky Mage. And I would just ban Shaman. I can ignore the 6/6, but ignoring damage seems like a good way of just dying quickly. So I think I'm just going to trade everything into here. Even though I do sacrifice a board advantage. But I get it immediately back, and if he doesn't trade again, I get bartender value. I feel like it is easy to counter Druid. But at the same time, the new list that's popped up with Druid feels super good right now. Okay, hold on. Do I go for Fiendish Circle into Catastrophe? Wait, okay, hold on. No, this is what I do. I do go for this, but it's not just for the card draw. What we specifically want to hit is Muriocula and Kael'thas, so we can cheat out Gigafin and win the game. So let's do it. Give me all of those cards. Okay, we hit Kael'thas. Did we hit the Muriocula? Oh my god, we actually didn't hit the Muriocula. I mean, we have the Sire as well. That's pretty sweet. This is why I love the idea of having these sort of legendaries in here. Because at least on turn 7, I can still play Gigafin, or if I have a win with Denathrius, I can set it up. Ooh. Okay. So I can counter a 1 and then still play Shady Bartender anyway. I put no effort into this Masters Tour. I'm just gonna bore some people. Aw, dude. I wish I could literally have that kind of confidence and mentality going into a Masters Tour. I commend you for that boldness. Okay, so yeah, we just keep his board busy. Do I trade into the 3/2 or do I go face? I think I trade one imp and then go face with the other. Yeah. This guy's probably playing the older list, so playing a Gigafin with Sinstrider is just literally gonna win the game. Oh, he is playing Tamsin. Okay, he is playing Tamsin. This changes things a little bit. But if he hits all the 3/3s, Gigafin just wins. Not really that much value out of Gigafin now. But it's still bored though. He has to literally counter me, and if I have Kael'thas survive, then I have Denathrius ready to go. Like I can't not do this. I can't not do this. The stats are too good. Wait, how good is your Sea Giant again? Does your Sea Giant remove the board? He literally needs to do the exact same thing to me. I don't think that's gonna happen. Do you know how the interaction works when you play Solid Alibi and then your opponent plays Denathrius on an empty board? I'm pretty sure it does 1 damage. Because Denathrius does all the damage at once. So that would probably go to 1. My Sea Giant kills them. That's exactly what my Gigafin's about. What the? Thank you for your service. We played double sacrifice? What? Okay, fine. I still have this. I still have this. It's fine. I mean, I just gotta do it. This is still the nuts, dude. This is still the nuts. Like, look at that. Now there's a 10-10. So help me God, if this is where Gigafin comes down, I maybe did this too soon. All right, good, we're fine. Gigafin was the only powerhouse card. I guess Kael'thas Combo can do it now if you top deck Gigafin. Yeah, dude, this deck is the nuts in the mirror. What is an Implock going to do against Nathria if they don't run Gigafin? This deck is just literally the nuts because you can play aggro and then you have combo. I was super close. Mischievous Imp is actually not on the highest of mulligan win rates. We got Murlocula. All right, how good is this card gonna be? We have Starfish. We have Gigafin. We have ways of dealing with it.
I see.
And the one thing that this Shaman deck does not have, and this is very important, is direct damage. It's so funny. And hey, there you go. There you go. That's the card that we needed, right? Now we can counter any Shaman shenanigans. I want to be able to draw ASAP so I can get the sire value. Hit him in the face. You could still do the aggro thing. Oh, he's already doing this? Okay, sure. Now my card draw is giga terrible. Alright, I'm just gonna get this out of my hand. Yeah, give a minion +1/+1. That'll be the way to win. If I'm the Shaman, I let the imps fill the board so they don't have space for Starfish. Well, yeah. I mean, something you can do though is keep Vile Library at 1. That's something that a lot of pro players like to do. And speaking of, I can actually set up the combo I'm talking about. He just played coin, so we can't get rid of this. But one of these days, man, it'll happen, and I'll be able to like play like Bolner into Sire Macaw, and it'll be the most disgusting thing ever. I've still been waiting for that high roll. Speaking of which, I just got Snowfall with a full board. You gotta play around it, man. You gotta play around it. Even now, I'm still playing around it. I have all the means to play around it. I just gotta trade one imp. It's actually probably better for me to just play the Shady Bartender. And just take the damage. Grimoire is honestly a good idea for the mirror, but you could also use it for that exact same purpose as well. So it's not a terrible idea.
The top shelf is.
Just gotta smork him. I could do this. Okay, yeah, I can unfreeze everything. Play imp and then do it again. We spread the love. There's something I can do. There. Okay, there's Sire. I should have tapped first. Should have tapped first. Oh, amazing how it always works out that way, yeah. And I think that's the only way that I can win. Alright, come on. Come on. I'm having so much fun trying to figure out what's the best deck and all of that. So yeah, I hope you're having a good one, dude. Did I actually turn this around, guys? And now that I have my Sire, I might be able to just do a high roll with that. Minions are dying and he's getting the HP. Alright, sure. It's 4 damage. I can clear his board. I think I honestly just want a Tamsin so I can try to hit Kael'thas faster. This expansion is so much more fun because it actually feels like there's... Exactly, dude, there's more options. Renethal single-handedly made this game so much more enjoyable. Like, I cannot stress how much fun I'm actually having, even when I lose. Because there's a lot of questions that get asked in a lot of games now. It's like, did I misplay? Is this the best build of the deck? There's a whole bunch of questions that get asked now. And that's exactly what we needed in this game, was more questions being answered. And having meaningful tech. We have meaningful techs now. Like, we're literally playing Murlocula, not just for the fact that it's 0 mana, and it fits with Kael'thas, but you can also play the minion and get lifesteal in the mirror. Like, it's not just like, there's so many different ways to analyze this meta, dude. I absolutely love it. I can understand people feeling like cards of the past are kind of screwing up what the meta is actually capable of. I feel like that's a very legitimate, like, worry to have right now. Where, like, you hate alignment, so whenever you see that card, it drives you crazy. You hated Zoo, and now Zoo's back. You hate what Shaman can do with the endless freezes. I think that stuff is fine, but I don't think it ruins the expansion, and I don't think it ruins the archetypes that we're seeing develop. It's not a tribal deck building, so you can discover stuff you would never expect being strong. One thing I love about decks is when they shock me. Like, I want a deck to show me what they're really made of. Love Alteract and dislike Sunken a lot. I liked Sunken City at the beginning, but then we had way too many nerfs, and then I just didn't want to play anything. Because nothing felt strong anymore. What was even the point? Okay, wait, hold on a minute. How much damage is this? I think Rafam is bait because we get frozen.
I'm not getting any younger.
Is it really just Gigafin? I can trade, try to hit the Kael'thas. Wait, is Kael'thas lethal? I think this is just still the play. Four, 5, 6, 7. That is actually possible. Oh my god. You can literally just set up an OTK with this Zoolock deck. Yeah, this is hopefully going to be the triple-digit match if I can get enough legend points. But if this is all he's doing, what's in my deck, bro? Figure it out. What's left? Primordial Wave? Another Murloc joins the party. Wait, hold on. Okay, hold on. No, that's fine. And now we have lethal. Now dude, we beat Shaman. We beat Shaman. This deck is the nuts. We actually beat Shaman. 100% win rate to top 1,000. Hopefully. Do I get 75? Nice. Ooh. Ah, we're back, baby. No longer washed.